The reservation was under my sister's name. Celestine, the five-star French restaurant that had been featured in Michelin guides for the past 7 years. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, waiters in formal attire who moved like dancers between tables. My mother had chosen it for her birthday dinner. Somewhere elegant, she'd said. Somewhere that reflects our family's success. I arrived at 7 o'clock wearing a simple navy dress. Not designer, just well-made. Clean lines, good fabric. The kind of dress that would last 5 years instead of 1 season. Mom and my sister Vanessa were already seated, both dressed like they were attending the Met Gala. Mom wore a burgundy gown with statement jewelry. Vanessa had on something black and sparkly with a price tag I could probably guess within $100. "Claire," Mom said when she saw me. Not warmly. Just acknowledging my arrival. "Happy birthday, Mom." "Thank you." She looked me over and I saw the familiar disappointment flicker across her face. "Is that what you're wearing?" "Yes. It's very simple." Vanessa sipped her champagne. "Claire's aesthetic is minimalist. That's code for can't afford better." I sat down and placed my napkin in my lap. The waiter appeared immediately. "Can I offer you a drink, madam?" "Water is fine, thank you. We have several premium bottled waters." "Tap water is perfect." After he left, Vanessa laughed. "Tap water. At Celestine. That's very on brand for you. I'm not thirsty enough to spend $12 on water." "See, that's your problem," Mom said, opening her menu. "You think about money too much. Successful people don't worry about the cost of bottled water. Successful people probably became successful by not wasting money on overpriced water." Mom's lips tightened. "Your sister makes $180,000 a year as a pharmaceutical rep. She can afford to enjoy nice things without guilt." "I'm not feeling guilty. I'm feeling practical." "Practical," Vanessa repeated, making it sound like an insult. "That's Claire's whole personality. Practical clothes, practical apartment, practical life." The waiter returned with menus. Tonight's specials include our Dover sole Mooney Air, prepared tableside, and our Wagyu beef Wellington with black truffle demi-glace. Vanessa's eyes lit up. "What's the Dover sole?" $140, madam." "Perfect. I'll have that." Mom ordered the beef Wellington at $165. Then they both looked at me. I scanned the menu. Everything was expensive, but that was expected at Celestine. The prices weren't the problem. I'd eaten here dozens of times. The problem was the show my family was about to put on. "The roasted chicken, please," I said. "That's $68, Vanessa said. "Claire, you don't have to order the cheapest thing on the menu." "I'm not. There's a pasta dish for $52. "Then why are you ordering chicken?" "At a 5-star French restaurant." "Because I like chicken." Mom set down her menu with more force than necessary. "Claire, this is embarrassing. Your sister and I are ordering appropriately for a restaurant of this caliber, and you're ordering like we're at a diner. It's a $68 chicken. It might as well be a $10 chicken given what else is available." The waiter stood there awkwardly. "Shall I put in the chicken order, madam?" "Yes, please," I said. After he left, Vanessa leaned forward. "You know what this is? It's you making a statement. Look at me, I'm so financially responsible I won't spend money on nice things. It's performative frugality. Or maybe I just wanted chicken. At Celestine, the restaurant people wait months to get reservations for. And you're ordering roasted chicken. Should I order something I don't want just to impress you? You should order something that shows you appreciate where you are." Mom held up her hand. "Girls, please. It's my birthday. Can we not fight?" "Sorry, Mom," Vanessa said. Then to me, "But seriously, Claire. Look around. Look at what people are wearing, what they're ordering. This restaurant is for successful people. People who've made something of themselves. And I haven't? Have you?" Vanessa's voice was genuinely curious, like she really wanted to know. "You work in restaurant consulting. You won't tell us how much you make. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment. You drive a 7-year-old Subaru. Nothing about your life says success. Maybe because success doesn't have to be loud. It does if you want people to know about it." Mom sighed. "Claire, honey, your sister isn't trying to be cruel. She's concerned. We both are. You're 33 years old. We just want to see you thriving." I am thriving. Are you? Mom looked at me with genuine worry. Because from where we sit it looks like you're barely getting by. I'm doing fine. Fine isn't thriving. Vanessa is thriving. She has a career, a beautiful home, a fiancé who adores her. She travels, she enjoys life. You just seem to be existing. The appetizers arrived. Escargot for Mom, foie gras for Vanessa, French onion soup for me. Even your appetizer is budget conscious, Vanessa muttered. It's $28. It's soup. Expensive soup. You don't belong in places like this, Mom said suddenly. Her voice wasn't cruel, just matter of fact. And I don't mean that harshly, sweetheart. I mean that you're not comfortable here. You're ordering soup and chicken and tap water because spending money makes you anxious. Places like this are for people who've achieved a certain level of success and you're just not there yet. Mom. The budget menu is more your style, Vanessa added. She was smiling like she was being helpful. There's no shame in it. Not everyone can afford fine dining. Maybe we should have gone somewhere more accessible. I stayed silent. I could have told them the truth. That I'd been restaurant consulting for the past 9 years, but not in the way they imagined. That I didn't advise restaurants, I acquired them. That my portfolio included 43 restaurants across 6 states, ranging from casual dining to Michelin-starred establishments. That I'd purchased Celestine 18 months ago for $14.2 million. That the one-bedroom apartment was a paid-off penthouse in a building where the monthly HOA fees were more than most people's rent. That my 7-year-old Subaru was paid for in cash and ran perfectly, so I saw no reason to replace it. That my net worth was approximately $67 million. But I'd learned years ago that telling my family these things didn't matter. They heard what they wanted to hear. Claire, the unsuccessful daughter. Claire who never quite launched. Claire who needed their concern and their advice. So I ate my soup in silence. Mom and Vanessa talked about Vanessa's upcoming wedding. The venue, the flowers, the designer dress. Mom was contributing $40,000 to the wedding budget. Because you deserve it, Mom said. You've worked hard. You deserve to celebrate. I wondered if Mom remembered my wedding 8 years ago. The small ceremony I'd paid for myself. The modest reception at a local restaurant. Mom had complained the entire time that it wasn't nice enough. That I should have asked for help. That she would have contributed if I'd just done things properly. I hadn't wanted her money. Even then I'd had enough of my own. The entrees arrived. Mom's beef Wellington looked like a work of art. Vanessa's Dover sole was prepared tableside with an elaborate show of flames and sauces. My roasted chicken was simple, elegant, perfectly cooked. How's your chicken? Vanessa asked with barely concealed sarcasm. Excellent. Worth the $68? Every penny. She shook her head. You're impossible to help. Halfway through the meal I noticed movement near the kitchen. Pierre Beaumont, the head chef, was emerging. He was looking around the dining room searching for someone. His eyes landed on our table. On me specifically. My stomach dropped. Pierre was brilliant. A 3 Michelin-star chef who'd agreed to stay on after my acquisition on the condition that he maintained complete creative control. We'd negotiated for 3 weeks before reaching an agreement. He reported directly to me and the restaurant board, which I chaired. We had a board meeting scheduled for next week. He knew not to approach me publicly. We'd discussed maintaining my anonymity. So why was he walking toward our table? Claire, he said when he reached us. His French accent was thick. Madam, I apologize for the interruption. But there is an urgent matter. The restaurant board needs your signature on the supplier contracts tonight. The deadlines. He stopped. He'd seen my face. The subtle shake of my head. Too late. Mom was staring at him. I'm sorry, what did you say? Pierre looked confused. I said the board needs Ms. Chen's signature. The board. Vanessa's voice was sharp. What board? Pierre looked at me. I could see him trying to understand what was happening. Why I hadn't told my family. What he should say now. The restaurant board, he said carefully. Why would Claire need to sign anything for Celestine's board? Mom asked. The answer was obvious, but Pierre clearly didn't want to be the one to say it. He looked at me again, silently pleading for guidance. I set down my fork. Because I chair the board. Silence. Then Vanessa laughed. What? Oh, that's ridiculous. I chair the restaurant board for Celestine. But you're a consultant, Mom said. I consult on restaurants I own. Then I serve on their boards. Pierre was backing away slowly. I will leave the documents at the host stand for you, madam. My apologies for the interruption. He disappeared back toward the kitchen before anyone could ask more questions. Mom's face had gone pale. Claire, what is he talking about? I own Celestine. You own this restaurant? Yes. This restaurant specifically? Celestine. Yes. Vanessa was shaking her head. That's impossible. Restaurants like this cost millions. You don't have millions. I have enough. How much is enough? I purchased Celestine for $14.2 million 18 months ago. The table next to us had gone quiet. They were trying not to stare but failing. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. $14 million. That's what the previous owners were asking. I negotiated down from $16 million. But where? How would you get $14 million? From the other restaurants. The portfolio generates about $9 million annually. I financed part of the Celestine purchase, but I had enough for a substantial down payment. Vanessa was scrolling frantically on her phone. There's nothing online about you owning Celestine. I keep a low profile. The ownership is through an LLC. But someone would know. The staff would. The staff does know. The board knows. The chef knows. They're just discreet. Mom was still processing. You own other restaurants? A portfolio. 43 restaurants across 6 states. This is the flagship, but I own everything from casual dining to fine dining establishments. 43 restaurants. Yes. And you said $9 million? Annually. Last year was $9.2 million. This year is tracking slightly higher. Vanessa had found something on her phone. Holy shit. There's an article here. Anonymous buyer acquires Celestine in $14 million deal. It says the buyer is a private investment group with extensive restaurant holdings. That's my LLC. You're a private investment group? I'm the private investment group. The waiter appeared, looking nervous. Is everything satisfactory with your meals? Everything is perfect, thank you, I said. He nodded and retreated quickly. I had a feeling Pierre had briefed the entire staff about what had just happened. Mom set down her fork. She hadn't taken a bite in several minutes. I don't understand. How long have you been doing this? 9 years. I bought my first restaurant at 24. With what money? I'd been working as an actual consultant, helping struggling restaurants improve their operations. I saved everything. When a small Italian place I'd been advising went up for sale, I bought it for $300,000. Turned it around, sold it 2 years later for $850,000. Used that profit for the next acquisition. And you just kept going? I kept finding undervalued restaurants with good bones but poor management. I'd acquire them, improve operations, either keep them as income generators or sell them for profit. Vanessa was reading more on her phone. This article says the buyer has a reputation in the industry for transforming struggling establishments into profitable ventures. That's you. That's me. There are people in the comments speculating about who it is. Someone said they heard it was a European investment firm. Someone else thinks it's a celebrity investor. Neither. It's just me. Mom's hands were shaking. Claire, you let us think you were struggling. I never said I was struggling. You assumed it. Because you live in a tiny apartment and drive an old car and order the cheapest things on menus. I live in a paid-off penthouse, drive a reliable car I purchased with cash, and order what I want to eat regardless of price. You interpreted all of that as struggling because it didn't match your definition of success. You could have told us. Would you have believed me? Vanessa looked up from her phone. No. If you told us 3 years ago that you owned restaurants, we would have thought you were delusional. Exactly. So I stopped trying to explain. I built my business quietly. And at family dinners I just listened. While we bragged about our accomplishments, Vanessa said quietly. While I talked about my $180,000 salary to someone who makes $9 million a year. Your accomplishments are legitimate. You worked hard for that salary. But we were condescending about it. About your life, your choices, your success. You were working with incomplete information. Mom was crying now. Silent tears running down her face. I told you that you don't belong in places like this. I said this restaurant is for successful people. And you own it. Yes. Why didn't you say something? Right then? Why did you just sit there? Because I've learned that correcting people's assumptions just makes them defensive. It's easier to let them think what they want. Even when what we think is completely wrong. Especially then. Our waiter appeared again, this time with the restaurant manager, Laurent, who I'd hired 6 months ago. He approached carefully. Miss Chin, Laurent said quietly. Chef Beaumont apologizes profusely for the disruption. He was unaware that you were dining with family and had not disclosed your position. It's fine, Laurent. It was bound to come out eventually. Nevertheless, he wishes to offer his personal apologies. And the staff would like to know if you'd prefer to move to the private dining room for the remainder of your meal. That won't be necessary. Very well. Also, Chef has prepared a special dessert course for your party if you'll accept it. Of course. Thank you, Laurent. After he left, Vanessa put her phone down. They're treating you like royalty. They're treating me like their employer. Same thing in a restaurant context. Mom wiped her eyes. I need to understand something. You've been coming to family dinners for years. Listening to us talk about our jobs, our money, our lives. Never saying anything about this. Why? Because it didn't matter. You weren't interested in who I actually was. You were interested in who you thought I was. The unsuccessful daughter who needed guidance. That's not fair. Isn't it? Mom, do you remember when I bought my first restaurant? He thought about it. Vaguely. I was 24. I came to Sunday dinner so excited. I told everyone I'd just purchased an Italian restaurant. Do you remember what you said? She was quiet. You said, that's a terrible investment. Restaurants fail all the time. You're going to lose everything. Dad said I was being reckless. Vanessa said I was having a quarter-life crisis. We were concerned. You were dismissive. So I stopped sharing. I ran my business, made my acquisitions, built my portfolio. And at family dinners I just existed. Because it was easier than constantly defending myself. But we thought you needed help. We thought you were barely making it. I know. And I let you think that because the alternative, constantly arguing about my life choices, was exhausting. The dessert course arrived. Individual soufflés, crème brûlée, a chocolate tart. All prepared with exquisite care. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Vanessa spoke. I told you the budget menu was more your style. You did. I'm the worst person alive. You're not. You just didn't have all the information. I had enough information to not be a condescending asshole. She looked at me. I'm sorry, Claire. For all of it. For assuming. For judging. For treating you like you were less than. I forgive you. Just like that. Just like that. Why? Because holding grudges is exhausting. And because you're my sister. Mom was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, I contributed $40,000 to Vanessa's wedding. I know. I never offered to help with your wedding. You didn't. Because I didn't think you needed it. I thought you were being cheap on purpose. Being difficult. I know. I'm so sorry, Claire. I know that too. After dinner, Laurent appeared with a leather folder. Miss Chin, Chef Beaumont left the supplier contracts for your review. And there's the matter of tonight's bill. Charge my personal account, I said. Same as always. He nodded and retreated. Vanessa stared. You have a personal account here? At your own restaurant. I eat here several times a month. It's easier to keep it separate from business expenses. Do you pay yourself? Yes. The same prices as any other customer. It's cleaner for accounting. You're paying for Mom's birthday dinner at your own restaurant. It's Mom's birthday. Of course I'm paying. Mom looked like she might cry again. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to. We left around 10 o'clock. In the parking lot, Vanessa stopped beside her Mercedes. Your car, she said, pointing at my Subaru. That's really what you want to drive? It's reliable, fuel efficient, and paid off. Why would I replace it? Because you could afford a Ferrari. I could afford a dealership. But I'd still drive this. She laughed. You're the weirdest rich person I've ever met. I'm the only rich person you've met. Fair. Mom hugged me longer than usual before getting in her car. Can we talk this week? Really talk? Of course. I want to understand how you did this, why you did this, and why you never told us. Okay. Are you happy, Claire? Truly happy. I thought about my 43 restaurants, my carefully built portfolio, my quiet life that I'd designed exactly how I wanted it. Yeah, Mom. I'm really happy. Good. That's all I ever wanted for you. The next morning I woke up to 32 text messages. Not from Mom or Vanessa, from extended family members. Cousins, aunts, uncles, people I hadn't heard from in years. All suddenly very interested in my restaurant consulting business. All mentioning they had great restaurant ideas, if I was looking for investments. I responded to Mom's text and ignored the rest. 3 days later Mom invited me to lunch. Not at Celestine, at a small cafe near her house. I wanted somewhere neutral, she explained. Somewhere you don't own. I don't own this one. Good. We ordered coffee and sandwiches. Then Mom pulled out a notebook. I've been thinking, she said, about all the times I gave you unsolicited advice. About your career, your life, your finances. I made a list. Mom, you don't need to. I do. Because I need to apologize for each one. Starting with the time I suggested you get a real job with benefits when you were building your portfolio. That was 2019. You'd already owned 8 restaurants at that point. Mom. Let me do this. Please. So I let her. She went through her list. Every dismissive comment, every piece of unwanted advice, every time she treated me like I needed to be rescued from my own choices. When she finished, she closed the notebook. I'm not asking you to forget any of that. I just need you to know that I see it now. I see you now. Thank you. Can I ask you something? About the money? Of course. Do you ever feel guilty? Having so much when others have so little? Every day. That's why I focus on restaurants that employ people, serve communities, create opportunities. It's not charity, but it's not just profit either. She smiled. Your father would be proud. He always said you were the smart one. He said that. All the time. He just didn't know how to tell you. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked for the first time in years. About my business, my life, my future plans. Mom asked questions, real questions, not judgmental ones. She listened without offering advice. As we were leaving, she said, Vanessa wants to have dinner. Just the 3 of us. No husbands, no partners. Just the girls. I'd like that. She's embarrassed. About how she treated you. She doesn't need to be. She does though. That's part of learning. Being embarrassed by your past behavior. 2 weeks later, the 3 of us met at a small Italian restaurant. Not one I owned. I'd learned that lesson. Vanessa brought a gift. It's not much, she said, handing me a wrapped box. Inside was a book, The Silent Entrepreneurs, Building Empires Without Fanfare. I found it at a bookstore, Vanessa said. Made me think of you. Thank you. Also, I want to apologize. I know I already did, but I've been thinking about it more. About how many times I was cruel or dismissive. About how I made your success invisible by refusing to see it. Vanessa. I'm not done. I also want to say that I'm proud of you. Not just for what you built, but for how you built it. Quietly. Without needing recognition or applause. That takes a kind of strength I don't have. You have your own strengths. Maybe. But I'm learning from yours. We ordered dinner. No conversation about who was getting what or how much it cost. We talked about Vanessa's wedding, Mom's retirement plans, my newest acquisition. At one point, Vanessa asked, Do you ever want to go public? Let people know who you are. Not really. But you've built something incredible. Don't you want credit for it? I have credit where it matters. In my industry, among the people I work with. I don't need strangers to know. That's very zen. It's very practical. Mom laughed. Everything with you is practical. Is that bad? No, Mom said. It's perfect. It's exactly who you are. 6 months after the birthday dinner at Celestine, I received an invitation to speak at a restaurant industry conference. The organizers wanted to discuss anonymous acquisition strategies in fine dining. I declined. A week later they called back. We'll keep your identity confidential, they promised. We just want your insights. I agreed to a private roundtable with other restaurant owners. No cameras, no press, no public attribution. At the round table, I sat next to a woman who owned a small chain of breakfast restaurants. She was struggling with expansion financing. The banks don't take me seriously, she said. They look at me, a woman under 40, and they see risk. Never mind that my restaurants are profitable and growing. I gave her my card. Call me next week. I might be able to help. 2 months later, I became a minority investor in her breakfast chain. Not because I needed another investment, but because I remembered being the woman no one took seriously. The chain now has 12 locations and is projected to hit $15 million in revenue this year. At a family barbecue last month, Vanessa asked if I was hiring. For what? I asked. Anything. I'm thinking about career changes. You make $180,000 in pharma. Why would you leave? Because I'm tired of sales. I want to build something. Create something. Like you did. That's a big change. I know. But watching you these past few months, I realized I've been chasing money instead of purpose. You found both. I thought about it. I don't have any open positions right now. But I know someone who might. Let me make some calls. 3 weeks later, Vanessa started as a restaurant operations consultant for a firm I'd partnered with on several acquisitions. She took a pay cut, down to $120,000. But she was excited in a way I hadn't seen in years. Thank you, she said when she called after her first week. Not just for the connection. For showing me that success doesn't have to look like I thought it did. You're welcome. Also, I'm buying my own lunch now. Even at nice restaurants. Good for you. Even if it's just chicken. I smiled. Especially if it's just chicken. Last week I had dinner at Celestine with my family. Mom's birthday again. This time her 63rd. We sat at my usual table in the corner. The one with the best view of the dining room. The one I'd specified when I purchased the restaurant. Mom ordered the beef Wellington. Vanessa got the sea base. I ordered the roasted chicken. You always get the chicken, Vanessa said. Because it's perfect. Even though you could order anything? Especially because I could order anything. I order what I actually want. Mom raised her glass. To Claire, who taught us that success doesn't have to be loud to be real. We toasted. We ate. We talked about our lives, honestly without posturing or pretense. And when Pierre came out from the kitchen to greet us, he smiled at me and said, "The chicken is prepared exactly as you like it, madam." Perfect, I said. Thank you, Pierre. After he left, Vanessa shook her head. You have the head chef of a Michelin-starred restaurant remembering how you like your chicken. I eat here a lot. You own here a lot. That too. Mom was quiet for a moment. Then she said, You know what I regret most? What? All those years I spent worrying about you. Thinking you needed help. Giving you advice you didn't need. I wasted so much energy trying to fix something that wasn't broken. You were being a mom. I was being a mom who didn't see her daughter clearly. That's different. You see me now. I do. And I'm still learning things. Like how the quietest person at the table is often the most successful. How simplicity is a choice, not a limitation. How strength doesn't always look like what we expect it to look like. Vanessa added, and how owning a 7-year-old Subaru is a perfectly valid choice even when you're worth tens of millions. Especially then, I said. We finished dinner. Pierre sent out a special dessert course. Not because I own the restaurant, but because he took pride in his work and wanted us to experience his latest creation. We ate it slowly, savoring every bite. And in that moment, sitting with my family in my restaurant, I realized something. The best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's living so authentically that their wrong assumptions simply become irrelevant. I didn't need my family to know I was successful. I needed to be successful on my own terms. And I'd been doing that all along. Quietly. Consistently. Without fanfare. Just like my roasted chicken. Simple, perfect, and exactly what I wanted. Nothing more. Nothing less. Exactly enough.